Hey, Chris Liepe here with the isolated vocal tracks for Kurt Cobain, Nirvana, Heart-Shaped Box. We're going to listen through to this, analyze it, listen to some of the recording coolnesses, the arranging that happens that we kind of knew it was there, but couldn't really dig in listening to the original studio recording. And we're going to search for ways that this experience is going to help impact our own singing and our own perspective on our own voice. And Nirvana singing in production is fun to get into because there's a lot that just sounds like accidental, but it's purposefully accidental, if that makes any sense at all. And you're going to see a lot of that come through as we get into this. Before we move on, please like and subscribe to the channel, turn those notifications on, and if you want more help with your own voice, click the link below and join my free vocal course. All right, let's get into this.
She has me like a Pisces when I am weak.
Talk about floppy doubles. Notice how it starts on a unison.
She has me like a Pisces.
And then you have this counter melody thing going on, right? Where you have one going la 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 la, and you have the other one going la 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 la.
She has me like a Pisces when I am weak.
Floppy, not perfectly in time with each other. Intentionally lazy sounding to draw contrast to what's going to come, which you're also going to find there's a lot of floppiness there too. It's just a different kind. But they were, in the studio, Cobain really didn't like the idea of doubling. He would much rather have been, more pure. But in this case, and the way they're going about doubling here, it really enhances the flippancy of the recording.
I've been locked inside your heart-shaped box for weeks.
You can hear the isolated, in the isolated tracks, you can hear this. Turn it up a little bit. If you're listening on good headphones, you can hear that there's bass frequencies in there, which means this isn't headphone bleed, this is speaker bleed. He's another one of those guys that they'd throw the speakers out of phase and then he'd record in the control room sometimes because that's the way he was most comfortable.
I wish I could eat your cancer when you turn black. Hey!
Sounds like headphone bleed there, doesn't it?
Hey! Wait! I gotta complain.
Now, what's fascinating about this, if you listen to the layers...
Hey! Wait!
Hey!
Hey! Wait!
Hey! Wait! There's some clean head voice vocals back there.
Hey!
Wait!
Hey!
And right here...
I gotta complain.
I got a new complaint. Very clean and doubled. And then you've got those really broken up.
Hey!
Hey! Wait! You've got those in the front. They're not as aggressive as I just did it, though. They're much more sedated aggression.
Hey! Wait! I gotta complain.
But having the lead vocal doubled with that more breakup and then those other doubles, it sounds like there's about 4 tracks going on.
I gotta complain.
Although it's not panned out a ton. It gives it that enough space and enough presence in the eventual recording. But man, you hear it differently when the music is behind it.
Forever and dead to your priceless advice.
I get the picture here where
Forever
in debt to your priceless advice. They're just kind of putting stuff in there to create layers around a more intentionally delivered lead vocal. I believe that Cobain's lead vocals were always very intentionally delivered. Even though they don't necessarily sound that way, they were very calculated. But a lot of these background vocals,
Forever and dare to your priceless advice.
it adds and creates this contrast of calculated, arranged, really pay attention to the timing and the attitude, and then get in there and be very the opposite with the background vocals, especially to this track.
Wait, I got a new Cobain. For
Notice that we're also intentional about, like if you listen to the end here,
priceless advice. Hey,
the cutoffs are not together, right?
priceless advice.
And neither are the words, really.
Priceless advice. Hey, wait,
But where it counts, on that hook, they're very together.
I got a new Cobain. For
There's nothing competing with the end of that phrase, right?
Cobain. For
This is really important for us when we are doubling our own voices, when we're arranging vocals. We want to make sure that we're intentional about where we allow things to be loose and where we allow things and where we need to make things still appear layered and loose, but they need to be tight where it counts. And the hook is absolutely where it counts.
forever and dare to your priceless advice. Hey, wait,
Like, hey!
I got a new Cobain.
How he lets his voice crack there at on the end.
Cobain. Forever and dare to your priceless.
We are, of course, not using pitch correction. We do not care that things are off pitch. Again, that lead vocal, though's gotta be right. Love this kind of stuff right here.
To your priceless advice. Your
Just end whenever you want. It's gang vocals. That's the best way to describe this. You've got your more authoritative leader with gang vocals.
Your advice. Me.
Priceless. I love hearing that kind of stuff. And you listen in context. It works so well, and it's inspired by the musical arrangement. Don't limit yourself, though. Those kind of things can make a vocal arrangement.
Meat eating orchids, forgive no one just yet.
I like how that harmony.
Just yet.
Just yet, just yet,
Yet. Just yet.
yet,
Just yet.
yet, just yet.
One just yet.
Warm,
One just yet.
just yet, just yet. Those fifths moving together.
Cut myself on angel hair and baby's breath.
Now there, listen to the way that this is just off pitch completely.
Baby's breath.
Like he speaks breath in the background.
Broken hymen of your highness. I'm
Notice how the background vocals are now louder.
broken hymen of your
This is dialing
highness.
up the intensity. And you'll hear this on other recordings too, where they'll subtly change the mix. Stuff will get a little beefier or a little brighter as the music builds, even though the vocal performance, it might be changing a little bit with it. But there's a lot done in production intentionally to sort of bring those out and build intensity.
Broken hymen of your highness. I'm
Also, the timing is not, it's very fluid here, but the fact that they brought that background vocal up a little bit there,
broken hymen of your highness.
it's a lot louder than the other sections where they have a similar background vocal. It creates almost an acceptability that timing is a bit fluid.
Throw down your umbilical noose so I can climb right back.
Right there, listen to how the reverb comes out a little bit more and how everything gets a little bit brighter.
Climb right back.
I mean, it's like they're taking the EQ knobs on the board and being like, just goosing the presence a little bit.
Roll down your umbilical noose so I can climb right back.
Awesome. Oh, talking. I love it. What did he say? I don't know. I love stuff like that. It's just left in. Of course, they're doing tape back then, so that they're not gonna really even try to edit that stuff out.
Hey, wait! I got a new complaint. Forever and dead to your priceless advice.
The doubles here.
To your priceless.
Doubles it a little bit more than he would have in other places.
Dead to your priceless advice.
This is another thing that I believe was very intentional, but and it's intentional on a lot of other recordings too. You don't catch it on arrangements like this as much. And that is this. We might be very focused on diction and placement of consonants in the lead vocal, but it's important that we don't have competitive consonants in our background vocals. Very, very important. We don't want or we don't want these consonants echoing each other. And so it might just sound like laziness, but it's, again, part of that intentional laziness.
To your priceless advice. Hey!
It's letting the priceless advice, which I'm, of course, being much more than he is. But if the background vocals hadn't gotten rid of those consonants and those plosives and sibilant sounds, we would have competition with the background vocals instead of just mere addition. Listen for that in your own recordings. Are your background vocals competing with your lead vocal? And if so, consonants, sibilants could be the reason.
Wait, I got a new complaint. Forever and dead to your priceless advice. Hey, wait, I got a new complaint.
I love the room sound, the reverb room sound.
Forever and dead to your priceless advice.
Listen to how aggressive or just broken up.
Advice.
He's clean in the lead there. And then in the background. There are other times where the background vocals are cleaner and the lead vocals are dirtier, but this is flopped here, and it's just interesting to hear the interplay between them.
Your advice.
Great. And now, of course, he can end that because it's far enough away. He can end it with some sibilants because it's far enough away from the lead vocal.
She has me like a Pisces when I am weak.
Like I said this earlier, but I love the interval interchange there, or interplay.
I've been locked inside your heart-shaped box for weeks.
Again, more spoken at the end of the line there. Intentional. If he's repeating those things, there's some intentionality behind it. It's not just laziness, intentional laziness.
I've been drawn into your magnetar pit trap.
Yep.
I wish I could eat your cancer when you turn black.
Ooh, listen to there's that mixing guy.
You turn black.
Notice how it was boosted there?
Black.
They boosted it up and then took it back a little bit.
You turn black.
So what they wanted to do there is emphasize the ending of that word, black, and then drop it back so you still have the layer of the voice, but you hear a definitive ending. So this was maybe an area where in the performance, the background vocals got in the way initially, and this was a case where they maybe fixed it a little bit in the mix.
You turn black.
And you hear that K come out in the eventual sound. Black. But you listen here and it sounds like they turn it
black.
Fun to hear that stuff.
Hey, wait!
The music in the house is louder than ever.
Hey, wait, I got a new complaint. Forever and dead to your prices advised. Hey, wait, I got a new complaint. Forever and dead to your prices advised. Hey!
His intensity definitely grows, and you can tell that towards the end of the song, and this happens in other Cobain songs, he's not all that nice to his voice. Yeah, there are healthy ways to get grit. There are healthy ways to get distortion. But especially with his studio performances, he really didn't care if he was fried by the end of one of them. He was more about being in the moment. And this happens a lot in the studio, which it's common, but it's not necessarily a good thing. If we practice singing with abandon and not a care for vocal health in the studio, we're going to be blindsided when we go live. And just keep that in mind. He's getting cool sound, but you can hear towards the end.
Wait, I got a new complaint. Forever and dead to your priceless advice.
You can hear his voice. It's more gritty, which is good, but it sounds more tired. That's not to say, though, that stuff like this,
Dead to your,
right here,
I got a new complaint. Forever and dead to your price.
to you, he lets his voice crack there.
Dead to your priceless advice.
It could have been an accident.
Forever and dead to your priceless.
It sounds like intentional desperation, though.
Forever and dead to your price.
You're priceless, you're priceless, you're priceless. It's fun when you're experimenting with things to put things in that sound, especially in layers. They sound out of control, but you know in your voice of voices that it is in control.
Your advice.
Both voices intentionally dirty here.
Your advice.
He cleaned up his lead vocal there.
Your advice.
That is not a note, right? I mean, it is, but it's... he brings it back up. I mean, that's not enough. Sounds so cool, though, that dissonance. I hope you enjoyed this analysis of Kurt Cobain's voice. I've done a full how to sing like Kurt Cobain video. I'll leave that link here at the end of this video, where I go into more of the style and how to get some of the tones and sounds that he gets, and we look at a lot of different songs, little snippets. So be sure to check out that video. And again, if you want to go deeper with me, please join my free vocal course, and don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel as well. We'll see you for more.